Welcome back to GSMC's Down by Contact Sports Podcast. I am your host, Jeremy Lapidus. Today is Wednesday, March 26th. If you were just tuning in, we have just gone over each and every MLB division, the AL and NL sides for the East, West, and Central. In this segment, we take a look at the playoffs. It's inevitability at the end of every season, but who's going to make it and who's going to win the World Series? We answer that question in this segment here. But before we do, remember, if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Or if you're on YouTube, you can use that super chat feature. If you do either of those two things, a message should pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else around the world to see. If you do have a burning question about sports, anything at all that you would like to ask, go ahead and throw that in the comments. Throw it in the chat. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. I appreciate everybody so much for sticking around, talking some sports with me here on a beautiful Wednesday, March 26th. But like I was saying, we are going to get into a little bit here on the playoffs predictions. There are a lot to go over, and we didn't touch on the playoffs when we were going over each and every division, but of course, the division winners get in first. So the division winners in the NL side was the Dodgers out of the NL West, going 121-41, locking up that number one overall seed, the best record in the history of Major League Baseball. At number two, I've got the Braves winning the NL East at 97-65 in the NL. And the Reds, the third seed, winning the NL Central at 86-76, which sets up a really interesting wild card race. The Diamondbacks had 95 wins. They get in. The Phillies at 90 wins and the Padres also at 90 wins get in, which leaves the Mets on the outside looking in. And I know that's a little weird for a team that made the NLCS last season, added Juan Soto to that, but the pitching staff just concerns me too much. I really like this Phillies team, and I think pitching wins championships. I like this Phillies and Padres pitching staff more. I like that Mets lineup a lot. I really do. Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, Pete Alonso is a deadly top three, and you throw in a couple of other solid bats in there as well. But I just don't think the Mets, with the pitching, the starting pitching especially, already dealing with some injuries in an already weak unit, is going to have enough to make it into the playoffs this year. And I think they fall just a little short of their goal this year, the first one out at 86-76. This sets up an interesting wild card series. The Padres take on the Reds, and that's the 3-6 matchup, where I think the Padres are just better than the Reds here. The Reds get their first taste of playoff baseball with this young core led by Elly De La Cruz, but I think, again, pitching wins playoff series, and despite the Reds having some solid pitches there, I think the combination that the Padres have is just going to be too much, and they sweep 2-0 in the wild card series. As for the other one, the Diamondbacks take on the Phillies, and this one I do really think could go either way, but at the end of the day, that duo of Zach Gallen and Corbin Burns, I think, is going to be too much for the Phillies to handle, and I think the Diamondbacks escape with this one 2-1 to advance to the NLDS. The Diamondbacks would then take on the Braves in the NLDS, and again, a battle of just two really solid rosters. I think at the end of the day, the Braves take down this Diamondback squad. I like this Braves team a lot. They advance to the NLCS in a 5-game set. The Dodgers take on the Padres. Seems like they do this every single playoffs. I think it goes a lot same way as last year's, a lot the Padres with an early lead. But then the Dodgers come back and they win this series 3-1 behind Shohei Ohtani and that pitching staff. In the NLCS, we've got the Braves and the Dodgers, and this is an amazing series. You're not going to like it? You've got to go with the Dodgers there. The Dodgers are just the best team in baseball, potentially the best team in baseball history, and I just don't see a way that the Dodgers don't win the NL pennant this year. I think it goes 7, though. I think they make it close. The Dodgers, the representative out of the NL. It gets a lot more interesting in the AL. In the NL, there were only 2 teams based on my predictions, my preview, that missed the playoffs last year, that made it this year, the Reds and the Diamondbacks. For me, in the AL, it's 4 out of the 6 that are new to the playoffs this year. The division winners, first and foremost, we've got the Texas Rangers at number 1, the number 1 seed, a team that missed the playoffs last year after winning the World Series a year before that, go 93-69 and win the AL regular season pennant. The Red Sox right behind them at 90-72, get that number 2 seed in the AL, get that first bye along with the Rangers. The Twins, the number 3 seed at 87-75, are the last division winner. And then we get to the wild card race. This is a race that I think is going to be super tight. There's 5 or 6 teams that I think have a real shot, maybe even 7, of getting in here. At the end of the day, though, I think the Astros don't miss the playoffs. They might not make the AL Championship Series again, but I don't think they missed the playoffs this year. They're just too talented right now. They still have a lot of that core together. The Mariners, with the pitching staff, I think do enough to stay together at 88-75. They make the playoffs after missing last year. They're our 4th team. And then the Royals. I think the Royals at 86-76 do just enough to edge out the Rays, Guardians, and Orioles for that final wild card spot. The Rays 2 games back, Guardians 3, Orioles 4, and the Yankees 5 games back in my predictions here. But that spot could really go up in any direction, which sets up a wild card round of the Royals versus the Twins. I think the Royals do a lot like what they did against the Orioles last offseason when they faced the Twins. I think the pitching is going to be too much, and they win 2-1 in that wild card round, while the Mariners take care of business against the Astros, and they lose for the 2nd year in a row in that wild card round 2-0. Setting up an ALDS where the Rangers take on the Royals. So the Royals, once again, fall short here, I think. I love this Rangers team. I love what they've been able to do, especially if they can have a healthy Jacob deGrom going into the playoffs. This team is going to be dangerous. I think they win 3-2. While on the other side of the bracket, the Red Sox defeat the Mariners in a 3-1 set. The offense for the Mariners is just going to be a brick wall that they run into at some point, and I think it catches up to them here in the ALDS, which sets up an ALCS of the Rangers versus the Red Sox. And I think the Rangers return to the World Series. I love this Rangers team. I like a lot what the Red Sox have done, but I think the Rangers make it back to the World Series where they face the Dodgers, and the Dodgers are just too good. The Dodgers win this World Series. They win the 2nd World Series in a row, set up a dynasty, make people all cynical about the sport of baseball, heading into a very important CBA negotiation. Very curious how that'll affect things, but I have the Dodgers defeating the Rangers 4-1, just like last year in the World Series. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Who do you have winning the World Series? What do you have happening this season in baseball? What's your baseball hot take? I'd love to hear all of that and more. We're going to talk a lot more about baseball tomorrow. We, of course, have NBA Power Rankings, which we pushed back to tomorrow, not doing it today. We're going to talk MLB Power Rankings tomorrow as well, and anything else that happens from around the world of sports. You all have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to